I was on the floor when it hit me. Not the blow. That came earlier. But the betrayal. The hardwood was cold against my cheek, blood pooled from my lip. It tasted metallic. Salty. Real. Somewhere behind me, the door slammed. Tom's boots stomped down the stairs. And Emma's voice. Flat, almost bored. Keep your distance. Then silence. Not a scream. Not even a question. Just silence. I blinked. My vision blurred. There was a crack in the ceiling paint. And one of Emma's fake orchids had tipped over. That's what I noticed. Not the pain in my ribs. Not the throbbing bruise on my shoulder. But that damn plastic orchid. I had paid for it, just like I paid for her car. Her first down payment. Even that Hawaii honeymoon. Funny, huh? For a minute, I wondered if she had ever seen me as anything more than a bank. I crawled to my phone. Mia answered on the first ring. Her voice was sharp. Are you hurt? What happened? I couldn't answer right away. My mouth stung too much. She told me to take pictures. Now. Before I cleaned up, I did. Selfies in the hallway mirror. Bruised. Swollen. Eyes glassy. Lip torn. Then I remembered. The Ring camera. Facing the front door. Always recording. I checked. Tom's shove, my fall. Emma in the frame. Blank. Watching. That was all I needed. I emailed it to Mia. Then the ER. Rib contusion. No fracture. Just pain. I lay there that night in my own apartment. Alone. The ice pack dripped down my back. My body ached. But my mind. It started to clear. I was done. No more covering. No more fixing. Next morning, I called the bank. Revoked my signature. Emma and Tom's 600,000 loan. A void without my name. The woman on the line gasped. You sure? I said yes. Clear. Calm. Final. 2 days later. They pounded on my door. Their screams louder than the thunder that night. I didn't answer. Mom called. Said I ruined Emma's happiness. Over a misunderstanding, she said. I laughed. Was it misunderstanding when he slammed me into the wall? Was it when Emma said, keep your distance? Tell me this. If your own sister stood by while her husband hit you, would you ever forgive her? The fridge hummed. It was the only sound in the apartment. Inside, one egg. Half a lemon. A bruised apple I'd been meaning to throw out. 3 cans of LaCroix. None of them flavors I actually liked. I closed the door, stared at the chipped white handle. It used to belong to Emma. Back when she had her first apartment. Barely 20, drowning in student debt. I gave her mine. Bought myself a new one. Said it was too noisy for my place. It wasn't. But she believed me. She always did. I brewed coffee, no cream. No sugar. Just black. Burnt. Bitter. The way Dad used to drink it when he didn't feel like talking. The way Mom sipped it while sighing through bills she never paid. I leaned on the counter, bruised shoulder throbbing with every breath. The tile was cold beneath my feet. Somewhere in the hallway, my neighbor's dog barked. 3 sharp yelps, then silence. I liked the quiet. But today, it felt wrong, empty. My apartment was spotless, books in order, bills stacked, sink dry. But the kind of clean that doesn't come from peace. It comes from control. From holding everything together so tight, nothing can fall apart. I used to be proud of that. Now I wondered if it just made me easier to ignore. I walked to the living room. Photos lined the shelf above my desk. Awards. Conferences. A company dinner where I won Marketer of the Year. I was holding the plaque. Emma was holding a mimosa. The caption, proud of my sis. She posted it once, then forgot. She didn't come to the ceremony. Tom had a migraine. I stared at our faces. She glowed. I looked like someone trying too hard not to cry. The frame was dusty. I dusted it yesterday. Funny how dust still settles fast when people leave you behind. I sat on the couch. The leather groaned beneath me. Another thing I helped Emma buy, back when she and Tom moved into that overpriced townhouse in Eden Prairie. I just need a co-signer, she said. I said yes. Of course I did. I always said yes. Even when she bounced her rent check in college, I covered it. Even when she lost her third job, I updated her resume. Even when she forgot my birthday 2 years in a row, I still sent flowers on hers. And when Dad got sick, Wes, who flew in, sat through every appointment, scheduled every MRI. Me, Emma. She sent a group text. Sending prayers, Mom said. She's just overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. But no one noticed. That's the curse of being the stable one, isn't it? You hold everything. Everyone. And when you fall, they don't see it. They just wonder why dinner's late. I stood up, walked to the bookshelf, pulled out the red file folder labeled E.F. Laura Important, in block Sharpie letters. Inside, VCO, signer agreement, loan amortization chart, La House insurance policy, photocopy of my ID, a card. Thank you for believing in us. It had no signature, not from Emma, not from Tom, just printed ink, and a coffee ring stain. I remember opening it after they closed on the house. Emma cried, said, "You're why we made it happen." Then 6 months later, Tom blocked me on Venmo. That should have been a red flag. Instead, I sent them a welcome mat. I flipped the card over, nothing on the back, just space, like the spot Emma left open for me at her vow renewal brunch. Then gave it to her pilot's instructor instead. Mom said, "Don't take it personal." I did. I always did. I put the file down and walked to my bedroom. On the nightstand, well, a lamp I bought from Target. A candle that hadn't been lit in weeks. My old college ID. Me with bangs and bright eyes. I didn't recognize her anymore. The email came while I was staring at that photo. From Wells First Bank. Subject: AIF annual loan verification, signature match required. My heart stuttered. I opened it. There it was. Mortgage account Fay 8069. My name, my FICO score, my liability. It had my address listed as secondary contact. The house I never lived in. The one I helped them buy. The one where Tom shoved me against a wall 3 nights ago. I closed the laptop. Hard. Walked to the kitchen. Opened the drawer where I kept the old receipts, warranties, manuals. Half buried in the back. An envelope. No name. No label. Inside, a printed email. From Tom. To someone named Rick Invest. I unfolded it with shaky fingers. Vest does. Need to remove her signature without alerting her. Use the default clause. She never reads fine print anyway. My stomach turned. They were trying to push me out. Of a loan I built. A family I held. A sisterhood I never questioned. 2 months ago. They'd planned this for 2 months. Right before Emma's birthday. Right after I warned her about Tom's financial transfers. So that was the price of speaking up. Erase Laura. Erase the help. Erase the witness. I sat back on the cold floor. The same tile where my coffee had spilled that morning. I hadn't cleaned it yet. The stain looked like a bruise. I touched my lip. Still healing, still cracked, and suddenly, I felt so tired. Not from work, not from pain, from pretending, from hoping, from carrying people who never once carried me. My phone buzzed again. A group text. From Mom. Family update! Emma's planning a vacation. Thinking Italy? Tom got a raise! So proud. No mention of me. No check-in. No. How's your face? I didn't reply. Instead, I picked up the envelope again, folded it, filed it next to my co-signer copy, and sat still. Let the silence wrap around me. Let it sting. Let it settle. Because for the first time, I wasn't going to explain myself. Not to Emma, not to Mom, not to anyone. They erased me. Now I get to decide if I ever come back. But first, if you found a hidden email like this, would you open it? The email haunted me. I'd folded it twice. Then again, tucked it in the file cabinet under MISC. but it throbbed like a wound. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay in bed, eyes open, counting shadows on the ceiling, listening to the hum of the fridge, the heater clicking on and off. At 4:12 a.m., I got up. I opened my laptop. Maya had texted earlier, screenshot everything. Back up to cloud. Don't wait. So I did. Bank logins, loan documents, every email thread with Emma and Tom in the last 3 years. The first thread hit hard. Thanks again, Lar. You're a lifesavers again, lol. Tom says we couldn't have done it without you. That was 2 years ago. 2 weeks after I co-signed. She sent that from Cabo. I was home, sick with the flu. I remembered coughing on the couch, her photo loading on my phone. Emma in a white bikini, Tom holding champagne. Grateful. Sure looked different from this angle. I clicked, search mail. Typed in Zay Rick Invest, 1 hit. From Tom, forwarded from a dummy account. Subject line, remove liability. My stomach twisted. I opened it. It was short. Just a paragraph. A link to a finance doc. And 3 words. Laura never checks. I did now. I screenshotted it. Then I moved to my banking app. I'd been keeping an eye on my credit, but hadn't looked closely at the shared utility account I'd helped Emma set up 5 years ago. We used it to split Mom's hospital bills. After she stabilized, I forgot it existed. Emma didn't. There were charges, small ones. Amazon, Uber Eats, then 98 at Nordstrom. 300 to a day spa in Eden Prairie. The account was still active. And still linked to my name. I hadn't touched it since 2021. She had last week. I clicked. Report unauthorized access. Closed it. It felt like tearing off an old bandage. Clean, stinging, necessary. I made coffee. Burnt again, didn't care. I poured it into my chipped gray mug. The one Emma once called depressing. I liked that mug. It was mine. Unlike everything else, I walked to the closet. Pulled down a box labeled 2012-2018. Inside old planners, holiday cards, loose photos. One caught my eye. Emma's birthday, 2016. She's opening a pink envelope. I'm holding a cake. Tom is blurry in the background. I remembered that day. I baked. Decorated. Paid for the decorations. When she cried over the bracelet I gave her, Mom whispered, "She needs this. You're always so strong. Emma's not built like you. Built like me. Like I was made of concrete. Like being responsible meant I didn't deserve softness." I flipped the photo over. On the back. To Laura from all of us. All printed. No one signed it. I put it down. Back to the laptop. I clicked the folder labeled Ring Cam. My camera caught their entrance the night of the fight. Emma's heels clicked on the porch. Tom was a step behind her. No smiles. No joy. They looked like people showing up for war. I watched it again. Frame by frame. Emma said nothing. Tom shoved me. Emma watched. Not shocked. Not panicked. Just quiet. I zoomed in. Paused. Took screenshots. Mia was right. You don't wait. You build your case while it's still raw. I opened my notes app. Title. Rs THTAGSTHYTOK XX credit my name on the house utility account emergency fund we shared severs down first to Hunsanum my place in the family group my voice I stared at the last one then added my body my safety my story I saved it. My hands were shaking. Not from fear. From clarity. Because once you name what was stolen, you stop pretending you lost it. I showered. Dressed. Black turtleneck, jeans. Minimal makeup. Professional armor. I walked into my office. Lit the vanilla candle I hadn't touched since winter. Opened the blinds. Let the light in. Then I called Mia. She answered fast. Hey, you okay? Not really. Talk. I told her everything. The email. The shared account. The ring footage. The utility bills. She was quiet. Then. Laura, you know this isn't about money. I know. It's about erasure. I nodded, though she couldn't see me. She continued. You've been holding them up so long. No one noticed when they started stepping on you. That landed hard. She paused, then asked, You want a lawyer? I do. You want your name off everything?
Yes.
You want to burn them down? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I said, I want to be free. Another pause. Then let's get to work. We hung up. I opened my drawer, pulled out a manila envelope, started labeling everything. One for the lawyer, one for the bank, one for myself. I stopped halfway, picked up a note, Emma's handwriting. Thanks for always saving me. No date. Just those words. I read it again, then again, and felt nothing. That scared me more than rage ever did. I used to cry when she hurt me. Now I just packed it in a file. Closure doesn't always arrive with fire. Sometimes it comes with folders. It was noon when I got the text. You didn't have to do this? Emma. No apology. No. Are you okay? No, I'm sorry he hit you. Just guilt. Manipulation dressed as sadness. I typed a reply. Deleted it. Typed again. Then I put the phone down. I wasn't ready to speak to her. Not because I hated her, but because I still wanted to understand her. And maybe that's the worst kind of grief. The kind where you ache for the person who broke you. I made lunch. Scrambled eggs. Toast. Sliced avocado with salt. Simple. Grounding. I sat at the table. A table I bought with my own salary. My own choices. I chewed slowly. Let each bite remind me. I was still here. Still mine. After, I lit another candle. Tangerine this time. Sharp. Clean. Then I wrote in my journal. F. I am not the villain for drawing a line. I am not cold for protecting my peace. I am not less of a sister for saying, enough. The pen shook in my hand, but the letters were bold. That night, I couldn't sleep again. Not from worry, but from momentum. I'd moved a piece on the board. They would feel it. But the question circled in my head. Betrayal by family. Do you fight back, or do you forgive? What would you choose? I didn't want to call her, but I knew Mom would hear it anyway. Probably from Emma, probably with a twist. So I called first. She answered on the third ring. Voice flat, controlled. Hi, honey. It used to mean something. Now it felt like an opening move. I swallowed. Have you talked to Emma? A beat of silence.
Yes.
I waited. She didn't ask how I was. Didn't ask about the bruises. Didn't ask why her son-in-law put his hands on me. Instead, she's very upset. I blinked. She's upset. She said you revoked the loan signature without warning. That you're retaliating. Retaliating. I closed my eyes. Saw the cracked ring footage frame by frame. He shoved me. I hit the floor. She didn't tell you what happened, did she? She said there was a disagreement. That things got heated. Hey, hit me, Mom. The line went quiet. I waited. Finally. Well, Tom's under a lot of pressure. You've always been direct, Laura. Maybe you said something. I nearly dropped the phone. Did I make him do it? That's not what I'm saying. But you're not saying it wasn't okay? Another silence. Then she exhaled, soft, almost annoyed. Why do you always make everything harder than it needs to be? I laughed. A sound I didn't recognize. Bitter. Hollow. Right. Because asking not to be assaulted is being difficult. Don't twist my words. I was done twisting. Do you believe me, Mom? A pause. I believe this is all very unfortunate. Unfortunate. That's what she called it when Dad forgot my birthday. When Emma took my car and scratched the side. When Tom screamed at the waiter during brunch and made me apologize. Unfortunate. I nodded slowly, even though she couldn't see. I'm going to court. Laura. I'm pressing charges. Her voice changed. Snapped sharp. That's your sister's husband. His, not mine. She's already heartbroken. You could tear this family apart. I almost smiled. What family? That did it. She hung up. I sat in the silence. Tried not to shake. But I did. Not from fear, from clarity. The door wasn't closing. It had never been open. I stood up, walked to the closet, pulled down the old blue box labeled Childhood. See, I hadn't opened it in years. Inside it, a crayon drawing. Emma in a princess crown, me as a stick figure in the corner. Mom's handwriting. Emma, age 5. Next, a certificate. Perfect attendance, Laura Thompson, grade 4. I remembered that day. I came home waving it. Emma had been caught cheating on a quiz. But she cried, so Mom made brownies to cheer her up. No one noticed my ribbon. I dug deeper. A birthday card from age 10. Generic. No signature. One Polaroid, me blowing candles. Emma in the center, holding the cake. Flashback Ace 1993 Ease Emma breaks Mom's vase. Blames me. I say nothing. Mom looks at me. You're older. You should have stopped her. I take the punishment. Grounded. No TV. Emma gets dessert. I thought silence was love. I thought protecting her meant belonging. Turns out, it just made me invisible. I put the box down. Too light. Too empty. Like me. I walked into the kitchen. Pulled out my phone. Typed out a message to Emma. Deleted it. Typed again. Deleted it again. I wasn't ready. But I needed something. So I grabbed my journal. How do you grieve a sister who's still alive? How do you miss someone who never really saw you? How do you stop bleeding when the knife looks like family? I closed it. Made tea, peppermint. Calming. Didn't help. At 30:45, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Ms. Thompson. This is Detective Vega from Eden Prairie PD. My chest tightened. I received your attorney's file and the video. I just had a few follow-up questions. I sat down. Told her everything. How Tom shoved me. How Emma stood still. How they tried to remove me from the loan. She listened. No interruption. No doubt. Then she said something I'll never forget. Being hit is assault. But being erased, that's abuse too. Quiet. But it cuts deeper. I didn't cry. But my throat burned. Do you want to proceed? Les. Then we'll set a court date. I thanked her. Hung up. My hands shook. But this time, it felt like power returning. Like blood coming back to fingers gone cold. That night, I made dinner. Salmon. Roasted carrots. A slice of lemon. Emma hated carrots. Tom said fish was too girly. I ate every bite, lit a candle, washed every dish. Then I opened my email. Emma had sent one line. F. I don't understand why you're doing this. F. I didn't reply. I just scrolled down. To the forwarded email from Tom. To Rick A. Invest. Read it again. Remove her signature. She never reads fine print. I highlighted it. Bold. That was their truth. Now mine. Mine was louder than silence, quieter than rage, and stronger than both. I walked to the hallway, looked at the mirror. My lip was still healing. But my eyes, they didn't flinch. I whispered to myself, I'm still here. And that mattered. More than family dinners. More than shared blood. More than fake cards and group texts. Truth matters. The next day, I got another voicemail. Mom, her voice soft. Tired. I wish you'd stop this. I hate seeing Emma like this. You've always been so cold, Laura. So calculated. Cold. That's what they call boundaries when you've finally drawn them. I didn't reply. Instead, I went to the closet. Found the necklace Dad gave me when I got my first job. Emma had borrowed it in 2011. Never gave it back. It was in the keepsake drawer last Christmas, in her house. She told me I must have left it there by accident. I hadn't. I never wore it to her house. She stole it. Then forgot. Like everything else. Like me. But not anymore. I walked to the window. Looked out. Fresh snow had fallen. Minnesota cold, sharp, clean. It didn't feel cruel. It felt honest, like winter doesn't lie. It shows you exactly what's alive and what never was. I whispered again. I'm still here. And this time, I meant it. The courthouse smelled like dust and old coffee. I sat in the hallway outside courtroom 4B, clutching my folder. Inside printed emails, ring screenshots, medical notes. Mia sat beside me, her leg bouncing. You okay? She asked. No, I said, but I'm ready. The bailiff called our names. I stood. Walked inside. Tom was already at the table. Gray suit. Hair gelled. He looked like he was headed to a finance seminar. Emma sat behind him. Her face was blank, like she wasn't sure which role to play yet. We took our seats. The judge entered. Older man. Tired eyes. No nonsense voice. This is a hearing for the restraining order requested by Mr. Thomas Granger against Ms. Laura Thompson. Allegations of harassment and threats have been submitted. I felt the world tilt for a second. He was trying to paint me as dangerous, as unstable. I gripped the folder tighter. Tom's lawyer stood. Talked about emotional instability, unprovoked aggression, obsessive communication. He handed the judge screenshots, my texts to Emma. A voicemail I left the day after the attack, just breathing, no words. Proof, he said. The judge frowned. Anything physical. No photos. Just witness testimony. My client fears for his safety. I could have laughed. I didn't. My turn. My lawyer stood. Calm, controlled. She handed over the ring footage. The ER report. Printouts of the financial emails. The judge leaned forward, watched the video. Frame by frame. Tom yelling, his hand on my shoulder. My body hitting the wall. Emma, still, silent. The room was silent too. Tom shifted in his seat. Emma's face paled. My lawyer said, "This is not harassment. This is defense. What Ms. Thompson has done is protect herself. Quietly, legally, and with restraint." The judge nodded slowly, then turned to Tom. "Mr. Granger, you filed this order under oath. Are you aware false statements can lead to perjury?" Tom blinked. I thought she was unstable. I felt threatened. Threatened by what? The co-signer you pushed into a wall. No answer. The judge sighed. Looked at me. Ms. Thompson. This court denies the request for restraining order. No evidence of harassment. The court finds you acted within your legal rights. I exhaled, quiet, controlled. But inside, something cracked open. Not pain, not even relief. Just release. The judge turned to Tom again. If further false claims are filed, I'll consider criminal charges. Bang of the gavel. That was it. I didn't smile. Didn't cry. Just stood, gathered my papers, walked out. Emma didn't follow. Mia did. Outside she grabbed my arm. You won? No, I said. I survived. We went for coffee. Sat at a corner booth. Steam rising. The world still moving. Do you feel better? She asked. I feel clearer. You were amazing in there. I wasn't trying to be. What were you trying to be? Free. She nodded. Didn't press. That night I lit a candle. The same one from my first apartment. The one I took back after Emma said it smelled like old people. It smelled like lavender and paper. Like memory. Like something mine. I poured tea. Curled up with a blanket. Let the quiet sit next to me. My phone buzzed once. Emma. I didn't know it would go that far. I stared at it. No reply. Because she did know. She just didn't care. Until the court did. I placed the phone down. Didn't block her. Didn't rage. Some endings don't need fireworks. Just silence. So let me ask. If you had proof in court, would you use it? Or walk away? The silence came first. No texts, no calls, no knock on the door from Mom. No, just checking in. From Emma. It was like they'd agreed. We erase me clean. I expected rage. Instead, I got vacuum. quiet so sharp it whined in my ears. I checked my phone more than I should have. Stared at the screen. Nothing. I muted the group thread. Unmuted. Muted again. The family hadn't removed me. They just stopped talking. Even that felt strategic, like I was supposed to wonder, to ache. But ache fades when you stop feeding it. So I fed something else. I went to the nursery down the street, bought a plant. A succulent. Hard to kill. Quiet, sturdy. I placed it on the windowsill. Named her as Joan Das. She didn't need much. Just light and patience. Kind of like me. That afternoon, I opened a new savings account. In my name only. Transferred every dollar from the old shared emergency fund. Even the ones Emma had forgotten to return. It wasn't much. But it was clean. I ordered a fireproof folder. Filed. Y-ring footage, note court transcript, Rick invest email, letter from bank, confirming removal from mortgage, one section labeled us, when they ask again. Because they would. Eventually. People like them don't apologize. They wait until they need you again, then pretend nothing happened. I wasn't going to pretend. Not anymore. I met with Mia at the park. We sat on a bench. Minnesota air. Sharp but not cruel. Leaves turning. The kind of breeze that makes your nose tingle. She handed me a latte. Vanilla. Oat milk, she remembered. You look different, she said. Worse. Stronger. I didn't reply. But I smiled. I think I forgot who I was. I said. You didn't forget. They just buried you under their version of you. That stuck. That night, I pulled out my old journal. Started a new page. Who am I without them? No answers yet. But the question mattered. I cleaned my apartment. Not out of control. Not to fix. Just to reclaim. I threw out the throw blanket Emma gave me. Donated the fake orchids. Sold the wine glasses Tom picked. My shelves felt lighter. So did I. I scheduled an appointment with a financial advisor. Told her everything. She didn't flinch. Let's talk legacy, she said. I blinked. I'm not old. Legacy isn't about age, it's about choice. She helped me set up a trust. Not for Emma. Not for Mom. Not for any family tied to guilt. Just me. And maybe, someday, someone else I choose. Legacy, I realized, isn't always what you leave behind. Sometimes it's what you rescue from erasure. I walked home that day lighter. Not healed, but moving. At home, John leaned toward the window. Growing. Like it was safe now. The next morning, a card came in the mail. No return address. Inside, family is forever. Blood doesn't break. Emma's handwriting. I didn't shred it, didn't rage. Just folded it. Tucked it in the back of my journal. Labeled it $6 unspoken. Because sometimes closure isn't confrontation, it's the choice to disengage. 2 days later, Mom called. I let it ring. She left a voicemail. No apology. Just, hope you're doing well. We're still family. Still. As if damage disappears if we all agree to ignore it. I didn't call back. Instead, I baked banana bread, played a Norah Jones record, lit a cinnamon candle, chose comfort that didn't come from guilt. That night, I wrote I am not the broken branch. I am the root that grew elsewhere. No one saw it. No one needed to. I saw it. And that was enough. Next morning, I bought a second plant. Named him as Ray. Ray leaned toward Joan like he trusted her, like he wasn't afraid to grow near something again. I took that as a sign, because even in isolation, we get to decide what grows next. So let me ask, Risakard, if you had to rebuild alone, would you start? I didn't want revenge. Not the loud kind. I wanted removal. Proof. Paperwork. And distance so clean it couldn't be touched. That started with the lawyer. Her name was Miranda. Sharp voice. Calm hands. No small talk. I want to erase every legal connection between me and them, I said. She nodded. Let's begin with the mortgage. We pulled the documents. line by line, clause by clause. She found the back door Tom tried to use. If they execute that clause without notice, they're in violation of federal lending terms, she said. She drafted a letter. Firm. Precise. It included the ring footage as supporting documentation. I watched her attach the still images. Emma's eyes. Tom's hand. My body, hitting wall. It wasn't rage I felt watching it again. It was a strange kind of grief. Not for what happened, but for how long I let it slide. How far do you want to take this? Miranda asked. I paused. Then, as far as I can go without speaking to them. She smiled. Good boundary. I left her office lighter. Not free, but facing the door. That night, I opened a new folder on my laptop. Title: inside. PDFs of the mortgage revocation, emails confirming removal from utilities, statements of fund recovery, screenshots of text post incident, copy of voicemail from Mom, card from Emma. Family is forever. All time-stamped. All named. I wasn't building a case anymore. I was building a wall. One they couldn't climb. I called a notary. Signed documents. Filed affidavits. Crossed out my name in places they forgot they'd written it. I printed one copy of the ring image. Tom's hand extended. Emma's face, stone, wrote across the top us. This happened, and no one called me. I mailed it. 3 envelopes. No return address. One to my uncle in Ohio. One to my aunt in Texas. One to my godmother in Wisconsin. I didn't want support. I wanted clarity. They deserved to know who they were defending. I checked my bank account. Steady. Not rich. But mine. Set up automatic savings. Labeled the folder US. What they can't touch. Next day, I made a spreadsheet. Column A. Eshgov what I gave. Cezella column B DOS. What they returned. Shaw harsh list. Bailout in college blame when she flunked out alla down. Payment dismissal. La emotional support, ghosting. A hospital runs group. Text I stopped halfway through. It wasn't bitterness. It was math. What you measure, you can release. I closed the file. Took a deep breath. I walked to the kitchen. Made soup. Carrot ginger. Emma hated carrots. Said they tasted like dirt and resentment. I liked them. I added extra ginger. Let it simmer. That evening, I printed one last envelope. No message, just the ring screenshot. Folded clean. Sealed tight. Addressed it as Emma Granger, Eden Prairie. Emmentos no return address. It wasn't a threat. It was the truth. Delivered. Mia called that night. You okay? Getting there. You sure you want to do this? I've already done it. She paused. Are you going to tell them what you've been doing? I hesitated. The question stayed with me. That night, I sat on the floor. Candle lit. Succulents on the windowsill. Journal open. Cleat justice isn't silence. It's strategy. It's strength without spectacle. But then another thought formed. What if they keep telling the story wrong? Asa, that's what gnawed at me. Not anger, not revenge. The narrative. They'd spin it. Make me cold. Unreasonable. Ungrateful. I was none of those things. But who would know? If I left quietly, would I ever get to reclaim the truth? I stared at my phone. Drafted a post. Didn't name names. Just wrote, us. Sometimes the people who hurt you most send you cards that say family is forever and expect you to forget the bruise they never asked about. I sat with it. Didn't post. Saved it to drafts. Maybe quiet justice didn't mean invisibility. Maybe it meant choosing your volume. That night, I slept through. No dreams, no startles, just breath. In, out. Morning came gentle. Snow brushed the glass. Joan and Ray leaned toward the light. So did I. I made tea, mint, watched the inbox. Nothing new. Good, I didn't need chaos anymore. Just proof of peace. But I couldn't stop thinking. Should I let everyone know? Or leave quietly? The call came just after noon. I was folding laundry, the cotton sheets still warm from the dryer. The sun lit the room soft and low. Everything was still. Emma. Her name on the screen. Full caps, like it was yelling at me. I let it ring twice. Then answered. Silence on her end. Then a breath. Then. Why'd you send that? I didn't ask what she meant. We both knew. She wasn't calling to check on me. She was calling because others were asking questions. Uncle Rob called, she said. He said he got pictures. You really sent that to family. Still, I said nothing. You're trying to destroy us. No, I said quietly. I'm making sure you don't get to rewrite what happened. She scoffed. It was one bad night. Then why lie in court? She didn't answer. You made Tom look like a monster. He hit me. I didn't think it would go this far. It went that far the minute you stood there and watched. More silence. Then a shift in her voice. That whimpering tone I knew from childhood. Laura, I'm sorry. I almost laughed. You're sorry. Yes, I didn't think. He didn't mean. No, I said. This isn't about him anymore. This is about you. About the way you let it happen. About the way you disappeared afterward. About how you chose silence. Again. Her voice cracked. I was scared. So was I. That stopped her. Then, I'm not the enemy. Then stop acting like one. She said nothing. Just soft, stuttering breaths. You think you're better than us now, she whispered. No, I said. I just stopped pretending I wasn't. I ended the call. She didn't call back. An hour later, Mom called. I didn't pick up. She left a voicemail. Laura, you need to stop this. You're tearing this family apart. What do you want from us? I didn't reply. I already had what I wanted. Distance, clarity, truth. The next morning, I checked the mail. A letter from the bank. Formal confirmation, my name removed, liability cleared. Final. I placed it in the folder. Labeled sauce, DA. That afternoon, I went for a walk. The cold bit my cheeks. Minnesota wind, sharp and honest. The kind of weather that doesn't let you lie to yourself. I walked past the old bookstore, bought a used novel, paid in cash. Freedom in the smallest acts. Back home, I brewed tea. Opened the window slightly, let winter in, just enough to feel alive. The phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text. From my cousin in Ohio. I'm proud of you. No one ever tells the truth around here. You did. Yeah, that one, I saved. At 6:42 p.m., my mom sent another voicemail. Her voice was smaller. Laura, I didn't know. I believed Emma. I didn't want to lose all of you. That was the first time she ever sounded unsure. I didn't reply. Not out of cruelty, but because sometimes silence is the only language they understand. I lit a candle. Lavender. Ate dinner on the couch. Watched an old movie. Didn't check my phone. Just existed. And for the first time in months, that was enough. The next morning, I drafted a letter. To myself. You didn't need to yell. You didn't need to beg. You didn't need to make them see. You just needed to stop letting them blind you. I folded it, placed it in a box labeled K-Eep. Ax. I looked around the apartment. Everything here was chosen. Earned. Mine. Not one object from Emma. Not one voice from the past still echoing. The quiet didn't achy anymore. It rested. And so did I. But let me ask you, was this justice? Or too far? 1 year later, the air felt different. Not warmer, not louder. Just still, like the world finally stopped asking me to explain myself. I stood at my window that morning, holding a chipped blue mug. The same one Emma once called depressing. The tea inside was cinnamon. Warm. Sharp. It smelled like winter mornings and small peace. Joan sat by the windowsill. Ray beside her. June, the latest succulent, had just started blooming soft pink along the edges, all three leaning toward the same patch of light. Like they trusted the sun now. So did I. That was new. The scar on my lip had faded. The one on my shoulder no longer ached. But the one inside, that one turned into something stronger. A filter, a compass, a vow. I worked as VP now. Brand strategy. Bigger office. Better team. No more apologizing when I spoke too directly. No more laughing off being interrupted. When I made a point, people paused. They listened. Power didn't have to shout. It could sip tea and still shake the room. On weekends, I made pottery. The shelves in my dining nook were lined with odd-shaped bowls. One dipped too far left, one wobbled at the base. The glazes mismatched, but they were mine. Made with hands that once trembled in silence. Now steady. Mia came by every Sunday. She brought wine or bread. Sometimes just herself. We cooked together. Laughed too loud. Cried sometimes too. Her hug said what words didn't. She was my family now. Chosen. Trusted. There were more like her now. My table, once set for one, had chairs that never stayed empty. People who never asked me to shrink. Never told me to be nice. Never forgot what I'd lived through. Last month, I added one more plant to the sill. A spider plant. It sprawled wide, unapologetically. I named her as Marla da Cosec. She needed more care, more watering, more tending. I liked the challenge. It reminded me of myself. Emma's last letter came in spring. Cream-colored envelope. Handwritten name. Chua. Tom left. I guess he was always going to. Chor, I'm starting over. Chor, I think about you more than I want to admit. Chor, I'm sorry. Chor, I miss you. Chor, I read it twice. No tears, no rage, just a long exhale. I made tea. Lit a lavender candle. Set the letter on the table. Stared at it. The handwriting looked steadier than before. But the words still felt unsure. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't care, but because caring no longer meant chasing. Not every door has to be slammed shut. Some just don't open again, and that's okay. Mom hadn't called in 6 months. That used to sting. Now it just confirmed the math. Some silences don't need to be broken. They need to be honored. For your own peace. One Sunday, after dinner, Mia asked, "Do you think you'll ever forgive them?" I didn't answer right away. Instead, I reached for the mismatched bowl on the shelf, held it in both hands, ran my fingers along its ridges. "I think I already did," I said. "But forgiveness doesn't always come with reunion." She nodded. That night I journaled. Forgiveness is mine to give. Re-entry is theirs to earn. And some debts can't be repaid in letters. The words sat heavy on the page, but they felt right. I walked to the window. Watched the city lights flicker on. Watched June bloom a little more. She was slow. Stubborn. But sure. The next morning, I put the torn pieces of Emma's letter in the compost bin. Let them become something useful. For the soil. Not for me. Legacy isn't always about what you leave behind. Sometimes, it's what you protect. What you plant. What you no longer allow. I baked banana bread that night. Used Mom's old recipe. Added more cinnamon, less sugar. I didn't think of her. I just baked. Some traditions survive. Others are rewritten. This one, it was mine now. The following week, I donated 3 boxes. Old frames. Books I kept out of guilt. Sweaters that reminded me of birthdays no one showed up to. I didn't cry. I didn't second guess. I just cleared space. For breath. For light. For people who stayed. My apartment wasn't full. But it was whole. On the fridge was a note Mia wrote on a napkin. "Ev, we don't rise from ashes. We rise from roots we had to grow ourselves." It stayed there, alongside a photo of Mead, laughing mid-bite at dinner. Someone had caught it without me knowing. Hair loose. Eyes open. Smile real. I didn't recognize her. Not because she was unfamiliar, but because she'd finally arrived. The version of me they tried to shrink, hide, repress. She stood now. Straight. Unapologetic. I made tea again. Took it to the balcony, wrapped in a sweater. Felt the wind bite my cheek. I didn't flinch. On the table. One more ceramic bowl. Half, glazed, crooked. But it held everything. So if you've ever been cut out, rewritten, dismissed, left bruised, not just on skin, but on soul. Here's what I know: you're not broken. You're not too much. You're not too cold. You're not too quiet. You are becoming. And the people who tried to erase you, they'll never get to rewrite what you reclaim. So build your table, name your plants, say no out loud, say yes to your peace, and when you're ready, tell your story. Because somewhere, someone is waiting to hear it. So if you've been betrayed, tell your truth below. You're not alone.